Even afterwards, when the two of us had gone back to our quarters, Soma was disengaged, seemingly reliving those moments in his mind. Wait, are we sharing quarters? Because if so, how have you guys not kissed yet? You really are sharing Guys? Guys! For a brief moment, we meandered inside the bedroom without even looking at one another.
I'm sorry. Because of me, you were subjected to mockery.
No, I don't mind at all. Although it was jarring to be put on the spot so aggressively. I took their playful banter as a sign of everyone's heartwarming support for our relationship. Soma walked slowly over to his vanity, staring at me through my reflection in the mirror.
So, about what Nomura had said earlier. Should we, try kissing?
Oh, Soma, I expect nothing else from you. I jolted and my cheeks were suddenly white hot. Inside of my chest, my heart felt ready to burst, rendering me into a sheepish mess. Well, no need to force it, really.
Right. We don't have to rush into anything.
Was I imagining this entire conversation? There was a twinge of disappointment in Soma's voice, so I gave the idea more thought. I told him. When the time is right. Oh, good grief. If you do it when the time is right, time's never gonna be right. Look. Why won't you fess up, girl? Own up that you want a smooch. I had never kissed a man before, so my lack of experience made me a little nervous, but hey, he had never talked to a woman before you, so you guys are probably both each other's first kiss. I mean, only if you want to, Soma. I wouldn't mind. Shock! Eh? My answer caught Soma by surprise, and his eyes spread wide open over two rosy cheeks.
Yukimura.
The rigorous beat of his eager heart was loud enough for me to hear across the bedroom. The creak. What Soma may have interpreted as a smooth stroll over to my side of the room was, in fact, an awkward but endearing set of rigid footsteps. Oh, I wish this was animated. It'd be so funny. My imagination's filling in for me, but still. He rested both of his hands upon my shoulders. Okay. Oh. My hands trembled nervously in my lap. Neither of us could take our eyes off of another, falling deeper into a dreamlike lull. A flurry of questions bit at my anxious mind. What do I do with my hands? Am I supposed to close my eyes? How does all of this work? Valid questions. Whoa. Soon, though, they melted as Soma puckered his lips and inched them closer to my face. This has gotta be one of my favorite kiss scenes. My entire body tensed in anticipation, and I shut my eyes trying to guess when his lips would land. Aww, come on, guys! I thought they were gonna, like, bonk each other's noses or something, like, by accident. Bonk foreheads. Oh my goodness. Such a tease.
Sorry. I can't. I'm sorry. I guess I'm just a little too nervous.
I opened my eyes to an unexpected sight, which was Soma gawking to himself.
I mean, of course it's not you. It's not like I don't find you attractive or something. But, I've just got a lot to learn, you know. But I'm sure I'll figure it out eventually.
All right. All of the nerves built up from earlier had eased, and I felt strangely relieved, but it was an anticlimactic end as Soma silently dragged his feet back to the other side of the room. Guys, it's chapter 4. You gotta smooch. No, not like this, guys. And now it's March. You telling me you went all that time without... All that time? Guys. Man. Wow. I mean, it's really cute in a way, like how innocent their love is, but... Wow. Another New Year celebration passed us by, imparting another fleeting, wintry season as we fought through the urge to freeze. I think we need some alcohol for these two. After sending out a message to the guard station outside of Goroyokaku, we attempted to head back inside to beat the blizzard when...
Lo and behold, you have somehow managed to survive through the winter.
I know that voice! That was not what I was expecting! And then the salutations, little bitch! You can't... Chikage Aloysius Cosmo, you cannot just waltz in on New Year's Eve day after these two have not been smooching for months and just be like, I'll collect my bride now, thanks, after being absent for the entire route in this part of the game up to this point. I don't care that you got your... Maybe he had to, like, custom order his Western outfit, and it took a really long time this time around. And he's like, I can't go and get my wife looking like a schlub. I gotta compete with the new guy. Ugh. Also, Amigiri, it's nice to see you. I just realized you didn't die to Miki, so yay, I'm very happy about that. Could you tell me whether he is alive or dead? Because that is pertinent information for myself. Okay. Let's get into Chikage-ness. Alright, I'm just glad to see you at least. I will give you that.
Salutations, little bitch. A bit of gratitude is owed to you, I suppose, for guarding my bride. Your generosity flatters me. It's Cosmo, and...
An icy wind whistled between us when... Hey, you there! State your business! Why are you here? One of our soldiers, bundled tightly in a warm coat, noticed the disturbance and aimed his gun toward Cosmo. Never seen you before, stranger. You're a spy, aren't you? If so...
No, you fool! Don't go any closer!
As soon as Soma screamed out, Amigiri jumped out, kicking his foot against a layer of hardened snow to gain momentum before lunging toward the soldier with his arm outstretched. Unfortunately, there was nothing we could do. Clean. Gah! Amigiri chopped the back of his neck in one swipe, and the snow plopped as the soldier fell.
Fret not. We do not intend on causing you any further disruption, so I merely rendered him unconscious.
I thought you kind of, like, Vulcan chopped him in the back of the neck. Thank you.
In truth, I've come for the demon girl. Show us what a good boy you are and relinquish her to me. No one dies, no one gets hurt, and you can go freely. I refuse! Feeling brave, are we? There's not a chance that I'd ever let you take her from me. Does the bitter memory of the Battle of Tabafushimi escape you so easily? Surprising, considering it was only a year ago. You are sorely mistaken if you think I'll show an insect like you any mercy. You dare challenge me? I'm not going to repeat myself. She stays with me, and you're going to leave empty-handed.
Soma reached his hand over the hilt of his blade and unsheathed it, digging his feet into the snow as he got into an offensive stance.
Miss, I must ask you to step back.
But, Soma!
Please!
I heeded his frantic warning the second time. Soma glanced over at me with his peripheral, then
Hi-ya!
he kicked at snowy ground, charging toward Cosmo with his sword raised in the air. The wind around them whipped into an icy cyclone as their blades clashed together, the sound of which thundered around us louder than cannon fire.
You're delusional. Your courage is one to admire, boy, but I would have expected you to learn your lesson by now, no?
Each of Soma's slashes were anticipated well in advance by Cosmo, who sidestepped and parried the path of Soma's sword effortlessly. Cosmo grinned sadistically, then the tables were turned, and Soma struggled to keep hold of his blade as Cosmo swiped at him in blistering speed, relentless in his aggression. I like that me and Amagiri are watching this again. We're fight-watching buddies at this point.
Ugh.
Soma did his best to deflect all of the attacks, but
Gah!
he raised his arms too high, and Cosmo exploited the opening by smacking the bottom of Soma's hilt, and his sword flew nearby into a sheet of frost. Soma! I couldn't let myself watch helplessly from the side, so I drew out my Kodachi and ran toward Cosmo. But I was blindsided by Amagiri, who slinked behind me and restrained my arms together. Thanks, man.
Mustn't leave just yet.
Let me go! I'm not going anywhere with you!
Does sticking around this whiny imbecile strike your fancy? A sad sack of flesh and bone.
Cosmo pointed the sharp tip of his sword at Soma's throat, poking at it slightly to draw a bit of blood. Oh! If Cosmo planned on murdering Soma in cold blood, with or without my consideration, then I might as well do the desperate thing. Which is? I put my tongue between my teeth, biting hard to split it open so I could choke on my own blood. Is that a thing you can do? Yeah, can't you just stop my girl, please?
Hey! What are you plotting there?
Amagiri took quick notice of my plan and hastily pulled my chin down to stop me. Thank you.
Kazuma, enough! Or do you plan on letting her cut her own tongue open and die in front of our eyes?
Question. Just a small plot hole. She's a demon. Wouldn't her tongue heal before she could choke on her own blood? Just something to think about. Aw, Cosmo's like, you would literally rather choke on blood than marry moi? I don't get it either, man. I'm so sorry.
What?
Cosmo's face warped in astonishment.
Miss.
Despite his tenuous position, which was made tougher by the frost, Soma tried lifting himself with one arm, tilting his head up to scream out my name.
Is it pity, or is it love that endears this man to you? This pathetic, whimpering fake.
He matters more to me than you ever will. If you're going to kill Soma, then you'd better accept that you're killing me too. I stared Cosmo directly in the eye. Their sadistic threats paled in comparison to the terrifying thought of losing Soma, and my life would be forfeit without him beside me. Cosmo scoffed, shaking his head in disbelief.
Oh. What say you, Kazuma? If we let a female demon die on our watch, then we'll be hunted down. You know, the one with the loudmouth princess from Yase. She will come after us. What a farce. A mere misunderstanding.
Cosmo muttered nonchalantly as he placed his sword back into its sheath.
What's going on? After the Battle of Tobafushimi, we got a scolding from the head of the Yase clan. If we had chosen to continue pursuing you, even after she had warned us, then we would become pariahs, and would be exiled from the rest of demonkind.
Sen said that? So, why did you decide now to pursue? Oh. Cosmo, you mess everything up. You're such a... Oh, you're such a dummy. This was a rescue mission. Alright, sure. Give me some Cosmo feels before it's his turn. I will accept this.
This was a rescue mission, not an abduction. I'd only planned on taking you if you were treated as a hostage. But if you are so inclined on submitting yourself to that useless dog, then this has been a waste of my time. Enjoy being slaughtered in this desolate wasteland with those sniveling fucks. Time keeps no record of the losers.
As scathing as Cosmo's indictment had sounded, I interpreted as a gesture of mercy that Cosmo had relented his position and chosen to let us go.
Kodo, brilliant as he ever was murdered by the Shinsengumi's Fury Corps. Had you heard?
No, that bit of pertinent information was not disclosed to me, actually, Amagiri. Thank you for telling me. If he was killed by the Fury Corps, shouldn't Toshi have heard about that? So, you guys will have to remind me. I don't think we ever see Dad in Kazue's route then. Dad's just like, he's kind of in the back all the time. And it's not really a thing. I mean, there's not really time for him in this story. But still, it's strange. He's just like, he died off screen, did you hear? And apparently she had, and we didn't hear? Okay. Well, no one shares anything with me, I guess. Yes.
Which leaves only two Furies we have not been able to exterminate. That boy wiggling in the snow, and the man who goes by Saburo Miki.
I would appreciate if you would not exterminate my boy, thank you. Now, which boy was I talking about? Wink. I meant Kazue. I promise.
What? Miki is still alive? We tried squashing him in Kofu, but he slithered away before the deed could be finished. He holds his grudge against the Shinsengumi like the air in his lungs. No doubt, it is only a matter of time until he comes here as well. Wait, so Miki will... Our ties with the Satsuma have been severed. Consider this our final confrontation. Demons shape history from the shadows, and to the shadows we must return.
With that, Cosmo nodded, and Amagiri shot us a conciliatory smirk as they stepped away from us. I'm trying to decide what the sound of a conciliatory smirk is. A gust of snowy wind swirled around us, and the two demons vanished into the cold, hazy mist. Soma, are you okay?
Fine, thank you. Nothing here that won't heal in due time. What about you? There's some blood on the side of your lips.
This is gonna be the kiss. He's gonna go into a bloodlust thing right now, and she's just gonna smooch him. Calling it right now. Please let me be right. Soma thinned his eyes out of concern, licking his thumb before using it to wipe the damp spot of blood from my attempt to bite through my tongue. I'm alright too. My tongue will seal itself soon.
There's no way you could be alright though. Weren't you just contemplating taking your own life? For my sake, no less.
Well, it's like I had said earlier, Soma. If I lose you, then life isn't worth living for me otherwise.
Don't say that. Ever again.
Soma wrapped both his hands softly around mine, grazing the back of my palm with his fingertips. Despite being surrounded by a mighty blizzard, I felt warmer than ever before, comforted by his loving hands clasped around my own.
If one day I were to lose my life, you must go on without me. Or else my life has no meaning, and all that I'm fighting for is lost in vain.
Soma. A white vapor floated from his lips. Part of me felt loved, but mostly I felt foolish for offending Soma, hoping that he knew how much I valued him. If a time came, like Soma had suggested, that I lost him, then my heart would be held captive, left in an impenetrable purgatory with no escape. I built a fantasy around the idea of growing old with Soma, which made anything else a hollow pursuit. Soma checked up on the collapsed guard, and we propped him up before trudging back to Goryokaku. Oh, come on! That was a perfect opportunity for you guys to kiss, and now it's April! Oh boy. Intense music. Great. You guys are really not going to kiss before the final battle? Really? You're really gonna do this to me? Fine. April 1869. As springtime emerged, the frost making Ezo a somewhat inhospitable tundra had begun to melt, making conditions tenable for the Imperial fleet.
All right, men, to your stations! Remember, our goal is intercepting and commandeering the enemy's ironclad, which, if everything goes well, will give us ample collateral for future negotiations.
The Imperial Army's flagship. It is a state-of-the-art ship, heavily fortified by iron plates on all sides.
Time to show the Imperial Army just who the hell they're messing with. Yes, sir!
Both of you be careful, okay? I will await your return and pray that it is safe and swift.
Yes, of course.
Don't be such a worrywart. There's no way the Imperial Army'd kill us that easily.
Nomura, I'll miss you.
Next time you see us, we'll be on a big fancy ship, so sit tight, okay?
Alright, let's head out.
All of the able-bodied troops under Hijikata's command marched toward the harbor. As I watched them shrink in the distance, I couldn't help but feel an overwhelming sense of dread fester inside of me. What good were prayers against the force of a massive warship? For most of those men, I'd assumed that they had never seen a black ship in person before. It was massive, enough to house several platoons twice over, making their task a daunting one. Try as I might, I could do nothing to shake the pervasive sense of dread. The longer I stood there, the more potent it became. It was a premonition not unlike what I had felt before the Battle of Tobafushimi. I stood at the edge of the harbor, listening to the sea beat against the wood underneath my feet. Finally, I saw their rowboat approaching. Oh, Hijikata! Soma! Oh, I'm so glad to see you guys safe. How did everything go?
Horribly. It all went to shit, and we failed in trying to procure the ironclad.
Oh. Blood, soot, and exhaustion covered their worn faces, and my heart sank into despair. As the men took turns stepping back onto the dock, I noticed someone was absent. Oh, where's Nomura? Soma's silence told me everything. I felt dizzy, and I felt ready to lose my balance as my knees wobbled in anticipation.
Nomura didn't make it. He went out like a hero. God damn it!
Hijikata cried out in frustration, kicking the dock with his boot hard enough to shatter his toe. Toshi! Nomura was the first one to promise me that they would return promptly and safely. But Nomura was the first to go. His laughter echoed in the space left behind by his lively soul. I cannot cry. I repeated this, but my tears had plans of their own.
Miss.
Soma watched me break down and wrapped his arms around me, and I sank into his chest. I can't believe... I really thought we were going to see Nomura die on screen in this route, but he died off screen again. Oh. I do feel the loss more keenly because we spent so much time, and he was such a bundle of joy in this route. But it's not as painful as if I'd actually watched it happen. Later that evening, I was battling a bout of insomnia, so I prodded Soma awake to describe the details of the failed mission as it had happened earlier.
Well, as you know, we attempted to sneak close to the Ironclad with a trio of our own set of black ships.
Hijikata, Soma, and Nomura had boarded the Kaiten Maru, an observation vessel that was not equipped to engage in seaside combat. Oh, there's a picture of it. A warship owned by the shogunate in which Enomoto took it to Ezo. He put Hijikata and the men on this battleship and joined the Miyako Bay naval battle. Fate had other ideas, and a storm suddenly broke out, causing one of their vessels to sink and the other to experience technical malfunctions on board. Realizing that turning back would only cost them further, he pressed the Kaiten Maru forward, using it as the primary vessel to commandeer the Ironclad. Over the course of the next day, their plan fell apart. The Kaiten Maru hoped to travel in the Vale of Morning Dew as cover and made their gradual approach. Aw. He is gonna die on screen! No! I thought I dodged a bullet.
Alright, carry on as intended! Charge!
Nomura, wait! If we're going in, then I should join you. I can help you.
Sorry, brother, but this is my time to shine.
But why?
Isn't it obvious? This is my destiny, man! This is what we've always been talking about!
Soma described Nomura's expression as serene as he led his men onto the deck of the Ironclad. He fell speechless, watching his friend become a bold, courageous leader in front of his eyes. As our troops hit the deck of the Ironclad, they were met with immediate resistance.
Huh. They're using swords? I thought we were fighting a war, not selling antiques. Fire at will, boys!
Soma expected to hear a row of rifles fire off, but the Imperials unveiled a Gatling gun, which ripped our men apart in a matter of seconds. I thought that's what that sounded like. Gah!
Ah!
The deck of the Ironclad was coated by a torrent of fresh blood from our wave of troops, who stood no chance against the hellish storm of bullets. Nomura, however, was not deterred.
God damn it!
Even after being riddled with bullets and soaked from the blood seeping through his clothes, Nomura lifted himself from the surface of the deck. And then the officer waved his hand once more.
Ah!
Nomura mustered his remaining strength and began charging directly toward the Gatling gun.
Gah! Ah!
Soma leapt into the air, hacking down the soldiers who had gunned down his precious comrades. Nomura probably is what the name's supposed to be. Oh no, it was Soma. Okay. Then Soma dropped a woven rope at the other end of the dock and called out to Nomura to grab his attention and get him out of harm's way.
Nomura, grab onto the rope!
Ugh!
A deluge of blood flowed from out of his bullet wounds, dripping at his feet with each pained step.
I can't, bud. Got nothing left in me to grab it from you.
Just wait there! I'll run and pull you up!
With both of his hands clasped tightly around the rope, Soma readied himself to climb down, but... Before he could, Nomura used his remaining strength to sever the rope.
Nomura?
What's the point of coming down here? If you die here, then Yukimura will be devastated. You can't leave her like that, man.
Nomura! What the hell are you doing?
Soma's throat went hoarse from how loudly he'd screamed at Nomura, but it was no use. The Kaiten Maru's crew, realizing the futility of trying to take the Ironclad, began pulling away from it. Aw, man. It sucks that he died and nothing was accomplished from it.
You idiots! Don't let him get away!
Imperial troops scuttled around the ironclad's deck and prepared to fire their rifles at the Kaiten Maru.
I won't let you. The Shinsengumi must show bravery in the face of death.
As Nomura deliriously pulled his wakizashi from its sheath, he drew the ire of the Imperial riflemen. All of them took aim and fired at once. Soma said that the bullets had rinsed through him. The cumulative blast of the gunfire flung Nomura's body into the air before he splashed overboard. As his body descended from the ship's starboard side, Soma said that Nomura's eyes met with his. Even on the cusp of death, his beloved friend managed to eke out a smile before crashing into the sea. Okay, never mind. I lied. This is actually really getting to me. Oh boy.
Nomura!
The enormous waves swallowed Nomura's body, and they were unable to recover it. Soma's voice trailed off toward the end, and I fell speechless, rubbing my hand on the small of Soma's back as he trembled in our bed. He was in mourning, struggling to steady his shoulders.
I'm so sorry. I never wanted you to see me in this state. Today. Just today. I'm not sure if I can hold it together.
I gazed into his eyes and shook my head. Soma had shouldered the burden for so long. He must have felt somewhat obligated to be the stronger one, but this time it was my turn. Would you rather that I let you be?
No.
Just after he'd answered me, his head cocked back.
Oh,
What a time for bloodlust. Soma?
it's okay. Actually, miss, I changed my mind. Do you think you could step outside?
He attempted to maintain a semblance of calmness. But hundreds of sweat beads dripped from the top of his forehead, and he clutched his hand over his heart. It was about a bloodlust, and I knew that I had to do something. I chose to. Although he just asked me to step outside and leave him to suffer on his own. I'd seen this happen many times before, and leaving him alone could be the difference between life and death. Without asking, I slid my Kodachi from out of its sheath, biting my tongue as the sharp edge stung my delicate palm. My hand shook as the blood oozed from the slight cut, and there was a sort of strange pleasure I'd taken in seeing the droplets slide down my wrist. Soma, you need blood. Take me. It's yours. You can't refuse me. At first, Soma kept his somber gaze fixed upon the floor and hesitated to answer. Then...
All right.
Every time. He covered my eyes with his right hand and began vigorously smacking his lips on my palm, and I got onto my tiptoes to keep up with him. Oh? Hey, we get to see her in her new outfit.
You saw it coming, didn't you, miss? The look of desperation in my eyes.
Yeah. His whisper tingled the inside of my ear. Although he was in mourning, he couldn't let himself succumb to both his madness and his grief. A storm ravaged inside of him, and I had an inkling that losing his best friend at such a dire time had thrust him into a crisis.
You're some kind of miracle worker, miss. But you've got an edge to you as well. You let me come around in my own time. Whether I sink into a depression or fall into a tantrum, you keep me in check. I understand now how easy it was to have fallen in love with you.
My heart fluttered, both from his sincere words and the intimate pleasure of being used by Soma. Oh my. It lit a fire inside of my heart, trickling down through the pit of my stomach and into the tips of my toes. Well, that was inappropriate timing for all of that.